Ferrari could leave Formula One after 2020 as it goes at odds with Liberty Media over the future direction of the sport, according to the CEO and chairman of the Italian manufacturer, Sergio Marchionne. Liberty Media completed its takeover of F1 in January and is pushing to make changes to grow the sport and make it more appealing to fans, with a rebalancing of how income is distributed to teams being mooted to try and create a more even playing field, as well as revising the engine regulations for the 2021 season. Ferrari is F1's most recognizable brand, having raced ever since the formation of the World Championship in 1950, amassing a record 227 race wins, 16 Constructors' Championships and 15 Drivers' titles over 68 seasons. But ahead of a summit of the sports leaders and team bosses next Tuesday, Marchionne stressed Ferrari would not continue to race unless the conditions to do so were favorable. Amid speculation the manufacturer could lose its exclusive financial bonus from F1 as part of the restructuring of its income distribution. Liberty has got a couple of good intentions in all of this, one of which is to reduce the cost of execution of the team, which I think is good, Marchionne said during a call with investors on Thursday. There are a couple of things we don't necessarily agree with. The fact that we now appear to be at odds in terms of the strategic development of this thing, and we see the sport in 2021 taking on a different air, is going to force some decisions on the part of Ferrari. I understand that Liberty may have taken this into account in coming up with their views, but I think it needs to be absolutely clear that unless we find a set of circumstances the results of which are beneficial to the maintenance of the brand, and the marketplace, and to the strengthening of the unique position for Ferrari, Ferrari will not play. And that's got a whole lot of implications, apart from the cost relief from the structure of Ferrari, which is not inconsequential. But it does open up a whole lot of alternatives about what Ferrari could be doing with itself going forward and beyond that date 2021. I don't want to prejudge any of this. We're walking into this meeting next Tuesday with the best of intentions, we'll see where it takes us. What I do know is that it is part of our DNA since the day we were born. It's not as though we can define ourselves differently. But if we change the sandbox to the point where it becomes an unrecognizable sandbox, I don't want to play anymore. Discussing the financial impact of Ferrari leaving F1, Marchionne said such a decision would be totally beneficial to the profit and loss, and that the board would be celebrating here until the cows come home. When asked how he would feel about being the CEO that took Ferrari out of F1, Marchionne said like $1 million because I'd be working on an alternative strategy to try and replace it. A more rational one, too. I'm attending this meeting on strategy because it's important and it matters a lot to this business. The financial implications of the wrong choice for the moment going forward are pretty significant to Ferrari. Ferrari is currently committed to race in F1 until the end of 2020 under the Concord Agreement, the commercial contract between the teams and the sports bosses, that was drawn up in 2013, 3 years prior to Liberty's takeover. Follow at Luke Smith 1. There are a lot of standard, run-of-the-mill quotes used to describe the challenge of racing the Rolex 24 at Daytona that largely focus on endurance, persistence and compromise. And then there is this gem from Juan Pablo Montoya offered during a break in testing for Acura Team Penske today at Daytona, to describe what this race entails. The best way to describe is a go down I-95, at 150 miles per hour, running away from the police. That's kind of the feel you get here, Montoya said, to lead off a session with reporters Friday, which IMSA was gracious enough to stream live on Facebook. You feel like you're being chased, or chasing someone. They stole your life and you need to get it back and you're driving the wheels off it. In meantime people get in the way and you're bouncing into people. It's pretty cool. Can't quote that is not, and for Montoya, it's also the precursor to both his and Acura Team Penske's aspirations of coming in hot for the race debut of the new Acura ARX-05 at next year's Rolex 24. Penske's drivers are completing a 2-day test this week at Daytona and a 2-day test next week at Sebring to continue the intense preparation for the 36 hours of Florida out of the box to kick off the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship season. The Acura program joins Mazda among DPI manufacturers testing this week at Daytona. Montoya's already hailed the car's early reliability from the first round of testing. The reliability of the car has been unbelievable. Acura came out with an engine that just runs. I think the pace we still need to work on it. It's still early days for the car, he said. Montoya and Helio Castroneves are the two-star attractions in Penske's full-season lineup, but both are well aware and focused on the fact it'll be co-drivers Dane Cameron and Ricky Taylor that will ease their respective sports car transitions. Montoya will share with Cameron Simon Pagenaud as third driver, Castroneves with Taylor Graham Rahal as third driver, and the older drivers are moving into a new position of being the relative newcomers, learning from their significantly younger but championship-winning sports car veteran teammates. Yesterday, for example, we were done running and we went for dinner just to talk about cars and get that relationship together, Montoya said of Cameron, the 2016 prototype class champion. The two of us, we can talk about what I like and he likes, and what I hate and he hates. So we stay away from the things we hate. We can get to a nice compromise. Castroneves added, people don't realize they're champions in the series and they have more experience than Juan Pablo and me. So having them as a reference to learn details is key. We're talking about traction control, electronics and a lot of things we don't use. We have to smooth it out. We have the current champ in my car. And he has another champ in his. We're older guys, but we're rookies. I'm not very good at sharing. But it's another thing. Transitioning from IndyCar to sports car takes time. You gotta share the driving position, driving style, the setup. There is so much. At end of the day it's a compromise. Like marriage. We all know that. Right now Ricky is phenomenal and Dane is as well. I'm looking forward to 2018. Team Penske's maiden sports car race and its return, Petit Le Mans with the LMP2 Spec Oreca 07 Gibson, was a hugely valuable learning experience. For the team, Castroneves won the pole and the team recovered from Castroneves getting hit early on to finish third. The work done this off-season is key in the preparation to ensuring the new car is ready to star out of the box at both next year's Roar before the Rolex 24 and crucially, the Rolex 24 itself. The competition level from other teams is incredible, Castroneves said. The rhythm in the race was stronger than we expected. We know what we need to do now. Focus on qualifying gets you to the front. There, 10 hours, weather changing, there's so many different adversity. It was a great learning curve. Sure, it's a new team but not new in sports cars, or new in many aspects. We have experienced people around us. That's one of the reasons we did Petit Le Mans. We'll face different challenges. There's a lot to be prepared for. We'll do everything in our power. Beyond their full season bow in IMSA, Castroneves is confirmed for a return for next year's Indianapolis 500 in a fourth Team Penske car. Montoya's options now seem limited to a fifth, as the primary Chevrolet test driver under INDYCAR's directed 2018 Dallara Universal Body Kit program would be highly unlikely to be released away from Penske and Chevrolet to a Honda-powered IndyCar effort. He updated his status today, following on from his most recent comments to NBCSN's Will Buxton at the United States Grand Prix last month. I don't think I will race Indianapolis at the moment, Montoya said. I think with Roger, I could either run with him if he wants, if not, I don't think he'll let me run anywhere else. Follow at Tony DeZino.